Well, hello everyone. It's been a long time, but I'm back with another speedrun. Been busy commentating as usual. Remember to like and subscribe to this video to help me. And I'm going to talk you through the next stage of the journey on the speedrun, getting up from 20 to 50. So, let's try a Trompowsky. This is one of my favourite openings, this one. I love putting the bishop here, attacking that knight, because it throws black out of theory. And now this move, h4, protecting the bishop here. This is called the raptor variation. And my opponent's played one of the best moves. This is a solid response to this opening. And now we've got to try to get rid of that knight. And I want my opponent to take this bishop and open up the h-file. So around this rating range, we will look at the typical mistakes that are played. But it's important to know your openings. This is kind of a system opening, the Trompowsky. It's a great way to meet this knight move because you cut across a lot of other openings. And it leads to very interesting positions. Already here you can see you get something unique, and I think it's good to get your opponent out of what they're expecting from early stage. This is a good move though, getting the bishop to a good diagonal. And here I'm gonna just move my knight, develop a piece. Maybe I've got ideas of trying to attack that bishop by putting my knight here. I like the fact that I have an open h-file in this position. And now that my pawn is on pre, I don't know if my opponent's just going to come and grab it. We need to think of a plan. So my first thought's to do this, but is my opponent just going to come and grab a pawn then? I might be able to get some counterplay against that. The other idea is to try to attack on the light squares because my opponent's bishop's come away from that defense. So what do we play here? I mean, I could really grovel and defend this pawn with like queen c1, knight b3. Then my queen has a good way into the king side. It's maybe not too bad, but it looks a bit odd as well. And I don't want to play completely weird moves yet. So we need to get compensation against him just grabbing this pawn here. So let's have a look. This is the normal move to try and get my bishop out. And then after bishop here, bishop d3. It doesn't look like enough compensation, so I think I need to attack him on some area here. This c4 move seems like a decent idea because at least I can try to start a counter attack on the light squares on the queen side here because this bishop has moved away from those light squares. So we'll do this one. So if he does try to grab a pawn, I can attack a pawn, and that also gives me, if I really need to, this backup plan. And often it's a good idea if you see, you can work it out when you get nearer to the point of no return, but I can see that my queen can come over here if I need to. But that looks a bit funny because it blocks this pawn in, I can't get this bishop out, and I like to have all of my pieces harmonized if I can. So after c4, my queen will pop out to one of these two squares. So let's have a look. Bishop e7. This check encourages him to play c6, and c6 looks like a useful move to him. So I'm going to go for the other one, which is pressurizing b7. And now my opponent's just trying to give this one up, but he's left this one on pre. He played that move very quickly, and you can see that by just causing some problems, my opponent may, I don't know, maybe this is okay, but now surely taking here becomes much more tempting. And I think I should take anyway, even if I don't take a second time, because it gives me both of these pawns as options. Now I have e4 if he does nothing here, and I don't think he should allow my pawn to get to this square, so I think he should take back. And let's say we should start countering queen takes. I attack his bishop, and if the bishop drops back there, if we grab another pawn, it looks a bit greedy. I don't like his rook coming in, but my queen coming around to e4 looks okay because then we can use this open h-file. So I actually like this move because we get a central pawn, much more useful than this one, allowing him counterplay. And now my queen can come here and I use this rook, the open H file. So like I said, this is the Raptor. I think it's the Raptor. I mean, I'm not always great with chess names because it's more important to know the ideas. But this is called the Raptor variation. Another threat I have here is actually G6 because he can't take with either of these pawns. So this looks all right. And I am pawn up. I can also now just simply try to develop my last piece. Lots of good squares for that bishop. And he can't take here because of D5 as well. Another move which could be quite useful to my position. Well, I mean, can he do that? Takes D5, knight C5. I'm not going to worry about this too much because worst case scenario I can just grab the pawn there and I'm still a pawn up. But what does he play now? It'd be lovely if he castled. We can take that with checkmate. And he's just played this one slightly passive move. Okay, so I would like to play D5, but I've also noted he has knight F6, which puts too much pressure on my center. This check, he just meets with the bishop. So I think I should continue with rook takes H7. Might as well try to keep the extra pawn. And E3 looks like a good structure for my pawns at some point. And I always like getting my pieces in. So I'm a little bit concerned about my bishop, but I've got enough threats here that he's got to deal with to play this soon. He's got to move the rook when I must watch out for knight here. Or he's got to take my rook. So if he moves the rook, let's say here, knight F6 is a threat. I mean, I guess I can move my rook back. It's not the end of the world. But do I have something better? Let's have a look. Rook here. Do I have something better than moving my rook back? Because this move is annoying. If I take here, then rook b8, queen c6, rook b6 to get out the pin, and I keep the pin on the knight. Could be very possible. So maybe that. Let's see what he does. He's the one who's under a bit of pressure at this moment in time. So I might be grabbing this pawn, but mainly to tie his knight down. I mean, so he's castled here. I did not expect that. That is a bit of a shock to me. Wow, that is that's a cool move, I have to say. Totally forgot that was legal. I mean, it looks very risky because his king is over there, but that is a cool move, I have to say. Whatever the result, that is one hell of a move. Sometimes you forget these moves are legal. His rook's attack and he castles. Wow, like it. Now rook here would be nice, but knight f6. I think I have to move my rook all the way back. And he's probably got to move his knight here. And we just play normal moves then. But nice idea that from my opponent. A move with a bit of sense of humour, castling. You just sometimes assume that these moves are not possible, right? And well, okay, I'm going to move my queen back to c2, and my general idea is to go e3, develop my bishop. I might try to swap some pieces off. So my opponent has a little bit of play with his pieces, but I'm also attacking this knight. If he takes here, I'll probably take with the queen because I've got to keep control of that one. I mean, I could also try to play quite aggressively here, move this pawn forwards, but I always have this idea of checkmate here, which you've got to watch out for. So, what should he do? I think he should probably, his bishop is a problem, and he can't waste more time here. I mean, he could move his knight, but no, he couldn't move his knight because I go checkmate. So what does he do? He has to, his bishop's on pre, he can't lose more time, he should take my knight. Time is very important. But if he does that, I'm going to take the queen, and also then my queen has a way over. So I didn't even think about that. Knight takes allows his queen to come in here. My queen looks quite solid here. And now I can try for this one. There's one idea. I could keep it very simple and take b2 pawns up as well. This one might not be so great because he's opened up this check on a5. I go knight d2. My pieces are getting a bit funny there. Good move from my opponent, good move. But I don't know, I mean, this is still quite tempting just to go for it. Queen here, check, knight d2. Something a bit funny about my position there. Let's say he goes rook d8, queen over, king f8. And if I check, he comes king e7. And whose king is worse there? My pieces have got a bit offside. So maybe I should take this one. My opponent moves very quickly. And this is where my lack of development is a little bit annoying. Now I could move back here and keep an eye on that one because he's going to go rook d8 anyway. And then just try to finish my development. That's probably very sensible. If he checks, I've always got queen c3. Because he's getting quite a lot of play now. If I go queen here, it's got this check, don't like that. Queen here, if this check, then b4. Queen here, rook d8, queen here, king f8. This king actually looks quite safe there, I feel. So I don't want to over push. So maybe queen c2. But he's played this well. He's managed to get some counterplay. I need 2 more moves. Okay, so he checks quickly. And now I think I'm going to just try and get rid of some pawns. Now I might even lose both of my pawns here. But I was feeling that my king was actually a bit more exposed. So I'm saying I could lose both of these pawns, but I just want to develop. So let's just develop. I want to get my bishop into the game. Okay, let's do it, because I still have a bit of an attack there with this check. And this might not be the best way for me to play, but I was getting a little bit scared of his counterplay. And this seems to be a decent way to play. We always have a draw by checking and moving backwards. I assume he has to move his knight here. I have a very nice square for my knight on d4. I mean, something like this would be very good for me. I take, and my knight sits there forever. So he moves his bishop in. Now c4, knight takes here, I have a check. So this move can only help me because I get 1 pawn out the way of the attack. And I want to block his rook from coming in. So his rook is now blocked. And maybe even this move here. Yeah, let's try that one. That looks interesting, doesn't it? Because obviously I'm still dreaming of checkmate. I want to get my other rook around. Then I'm laterally attacking his knight. If his knight moves, I have check. My bishop comes back here and I win some points. So, for example, knight takes pawn, check, king here, check, king here, bishop takes c8 is one way I should be winning. My other idea is he did a cool castling move, can I? So he plays here, but now surely he's just losing. Because I can go rook takes e4 and my bishop sits on d5. Two minor pieces. Much better than a rook. So I'm taking with the bishop. And you can be a bit annoying with this, and b5, but it just feels like this should be much better. Maybe my bishop's not even best on d5. d5 looks lovely, but maybe I should put it on d3 to stop that. Unless I can find a solution to b5. I mean, I've got something quite cool there, actually. There, knight takes here, pawn takes here, knight c4, knight e4, rook takes d5, knight f6 check, winning the rook. So I like this square because it just feels nice. And then b5 takes here, takes here. I quite like that, actually. But maybe I'm getting a bit carried away. My knight can... Okay, I'm convinced myself. This is... You should always try to put your pieces on the most ideal squares. And my opponent actually resigned there. Okay, maybe a little bit premature. Now, what did he do wrong? Well, this opening seemed to be all right. I mean, we got an interesting position. And here it was key for me. Well, not actually yet. to realise where I might have a weakness, that pawn is a weakness, and realise what my opponent's plan is to take it. So I had to now, if I'd have played without thinking, I'd have got a bad position. So this is a good moment. You should always play with purpose. And I think c4 was an excellent move, trying to play with purpose. And it seemed to be pretty smooth sailing after this, actually. So I think pretty decent game, and the Trompowsky there. Remember, like and subscribe. Thank you very much.